What's going on? It's Dre Person, aka Draco. In case you ain't know, tune in.
Look, I'm from Jersey, nigga. These people grimy as can be. Devil pupils glaring at you as you slide down the street. Fuck the sport, cause in my city, the real giants on the street. I know that Eli got us too, but shit, I wouldn't mind the three. Change the topic, I'm still boycotting. But when you say that shit.
It's good to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
So, before we get started, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Where are you from?
Dre Persons, originally from East Orange, New Jersey. Lived there for about 12, 13 years. Migrated down to Richmond, Virginia. I'm 21 years old, born in October. A regular dude from Jersey, just, got a passion for spitting that shit. Wait, can I curse? Okay, sorry. Yeah, for, spitting that shit. Nothing much, nothing special.
What inspired you to get into music?
Well, I would say I didn't have, just music all around. I didn't have a big upcoming in terms of somebody in my family played an instrument or in a band or nothing like that. My first introduction to music in general, I would say, is when Bow Wow had dropped I Beware of Dog or something like that. That joint was too hard, and as a kid, just watching another kid be that cool, all the chicks was on him, that made me want to get into what he was doing, which was rap. But I would say what made me want to be a rapper 100% was when I heard Eminem's verse on Forever with Drake and all of them at the time. Wayne was my favorite rapper, so I was looking forward for Wayne's verse, and Wayne killed it, but him was different. And I said, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to destroy shit like he did.
So going off of those, mentioning those two artists, who are some of your big influencers?
Music-wise, my biggest influencers have been Tupac Shakur. It's always being aggressive and honest in my music. Not really caring. Kendrick, in terms of being myself. Coming from an area like Jersey, it's very easy for me to come out and say a whole bunch of negative stuff. I would rather speak my perspective and speak to kids like me, who grew up like me. So I would say Kendrick, he helped me a lot out with that. That list is really long, but I'm gonna add in XXXTentacion. It helped me a lot with my mental health. It made me want to help others out as well. To give a big credit to the Wu-Tang Clan, just in terms of style and just knowing that you were just, from up north, just having a real big passion for Asian culture, like anime, the style, ways of the samurai, art of war. I loved Bruce Lee movies, The Last Dragon, Bruce Leroy, all of that stuff. So Wu-Tang helped me on my lane.
So what's one of your biggest goals with your music?
My biggest goal, hands down, is to be the greatest rapper of all time. But my goals right now is to just put the world on alert, build up my name, and help all my friends out who rap too, get their names out there, and just create some sort of movement and collective that does something great for the hood.
How long do you think it will take you until you get the recognition that you deserve?
It's 50-50. I don't want to rush my growth. I know that musically I could be so much better, and I know I could, I have so many unturned stones. I would say I'm being very patient. I like to be strategic and tactical in my approach. If I would do something, I want to do it big, and I want to make sure that it sticks. I don't want it to just be there and then people forget about it. You know what I mean? I want people to continue talking about it. I do take time into consideration. I know that I don't want to become stagnant and not drop stuff or be dropping too much stuff, but it's 50-50, I would say, for the most part.
Well, going into one of your most recent projects that you dropped, Prince of the Abyss.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and get some questions from that. What's one of your favorite tracks off of that project?
I'm going to say every single song is my favorite because I feel like every song suits a different purpose. You got songs like, Wannabe is something that I love to listen to when I'm in the car. Jersey's Finest and What's the Word, songs that I like to listen to when I just want to listen to home. Nothing Left with Taryn Everdeen is a really good song to listen to when I'm in my emotions, and I like hearing her voice in that sweet piano in the back. It's so good. Poetry, when you want to, yeah. If I had to pick my favorite, hands down would probably have to be What's the Word. That's my favorite record. I know my other songs are mad at me, but What's the Word?
Going off of Wannabe, you say, how you let a weird nigga put on from the city?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
When I came to Richmond, I didn't have ties through us being like younger and stuff like that, or playing like sports or going to school with each other. So I kind of came in as this new kid from Jersey. I'm a whole different culture, it's not even like going from Jersey to New York or Jersey to Philadelphia. It was like Jersey to Virginia, you know what I mean? So it's like from north to south, it's a whole different world. And my adjustment to it wasn't the best. Looking at just what everybody was taking in from the city, when I started to get into the music scene, it didn't seem like a guy like me could really work. I feel like with my versatility, my lyricism, my ability to make songs that fit people of that nature and people who are in a different nature, I feel like all around I'm like the best. I feel like it's kind of crazy how a place that doesn't have guys like me, or typically doesn't have guys like me, could allow me to get as far as I've gotten. And I didn't think that was going to happen, at least not here. So it's amazing. I didn't think Richmond was this popping.
Going from you just Jersey, would you ever go back?
Oh yeah, I go back every year. I go back to visit my family. It's just like it's like everybody just has that one place where they just love to be around. It's not even always just a matter of like just doing specific things. I just like to walk in Jersey, or East Orange specifically. You know what I mean? Like I just love to be there and feel it, because it feels like home. It's just a different look, a different atmosphere. It brings nostalgia, of course. I definitely, would I move back if I not now, I wouldn't say no time soon. Definitely once music takes off, I would love to get a house in Jersey, like in a real country, and just be able to drive around whenever I want. So I definitely will move back. Plus I got to show my kids, the place that made me. So.
How do you describe like your personal style? What makes you you?
Well, I mean, speaking of style, before I get into my own personal self, this shirt right here is T3, 3 T's for To The Top for my boy King Meek. T3 merchandise available out now. T3 merchandise on Instagram, king.meek for the owner. I'm rocking that today. But I would say for the majority of my style, and it's kind of been this way for a while, I like dressing dark. I like looking glum and sad and shit like that. I like looking that way only because it's like opposite of how I really am, at least when I talk to people, you know what I mean? When I'm around other people, I'm very friendly and I'm very cool, but that doesn't mean I want you talking to me, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of times I try to, like, people say, oh, you look standoffish, like I can't really approach them. I'm like, oh, good, you know what I mean? That was the point. But then when they like hear me talk, when I'm like performing, they go, oh my God, I didn't even know you were a performer, or I didn't know you made music like this. And I'll be like, yeah, you gotta wait. You can't judge a book by its cover. You shouldn't have judged me, you know what I mean?
Also, going from you just making Prince of the Abyss,
right,
from just, like you said, selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have like that cockiness when you
oh
do
yeah
music? How do you balance that with being humble at the same time?
For me, the key is to not be humble, because I'm not. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not. I'm going to say I'm cocky majority of the time. But I do bring out the humbleness, and I would say the best way that I balance it is by knowing when to use my cockiness to either uplift me or use it to down somebody else. I never ever down anybody else with my cockiness. I'm just me saying how great I feel I am is not me saying you're not great. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that for yourself though. I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm so great and you're so great. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem telling somebody else they're so great, and I do that. You know what I'm saying? I give a lot of love to my friends. But if you have a bit of an insecurity within yourself, whether it comes to your skill or whatever the case may be, I just can't do nothing about that. I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, because you might get offended because I say I'm the best rapper alive, I should have to change. You know what I mean? Like, you should just feel like you're the same. I've been in a room with a bunch of rappers, and they'll hear me on certain songs say, I'm the best, right? And then they'll like put their heads down, or they'll like look at me away. And it's like, that's not a threat to you, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying I'm the best, and I believe every rapper or everybody in anything should strive to be the best in that area. Not on some cocky stuff to where you just want to be better than somebody else. It's so that you're the best version of yourself, and you being the best version of yourself wherever you may land is where you land. I mean, I could say I want to be the greatest, but what if people just can't get over Tupac and I'm still number 2 to him, right? That would be okay as long as I went as far as I did, as far as I could, and I was aiming for number 1 and I landed at number 2. Hopefully I landed at 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm aiming for number 1.
How did you get deeper into Melodic Mondays?
Well, it was an establishment before I got there, but it was just starting out. And me and Una had met each other at a party slash performance months before. But we had always kept in contact because I really, messed with his music. One night, just chilling, he just sends me a flyer saying, Melodic Mondays and the address and whatnot. So I pull up, not really expecting to perform. And it was only I want to say 5 or 6 people in there. So I'm like, okay, I came out, why not? And I was looking for places to perform at the time. And I performed. And Johnny, my manager, she, after I performed, she was just impressed. And she asked me to come back the next Monday. And because I had jetted out, I was like, okay, performed. Time for me to go. Everybody's clapping and whatnot, and then she goes, Dre Persons, you can come back next Monday, right? And I was like, yeah. And I wasn't at first, but I was like, you know what? I was looking for something, and I found it. And I ended up going every Monday. I developed a relationship. That's how me and guys like Rello, SMG Jade, shout out to these guys, Uno to Uno, and the list goes on, that I met through Melodic, KT to God, a bunch of others. Yeah, Melodic Mondays is the shit. Every Monday.
So going along with Melodic Mondays, you guys recently dropped a mixtape. How do you feel
Yes,
about it?
it's amazing. It's so versatile. It's so good. I feel like every song can really hold its own. Big shout out to Johnny and my boy Tevin for helping me set that up. Me and him were just talking about it after we had spent a couple Mondays there. And I said, let's present the idea to Johnny and let's try to get as many other artists who come in here on a regular to be on it. And it was supposed to have a lot more artists on it, but a lot of people weren't really as serious about it. But I told myself I was gonna treat it very seriously. I knew it was gonna be big. So the artists we got on there, we assembled them. I want to say a big shout out to Rello because he has really developed from this tape. I've watched him go from one songs and he's just grown and developed, and I've grown and developed. We all have, and it's just made an amazing tape. Good to see unity in the city. You know what I mean? Because we didn't know each other prior, and we just all came together and said we were gonna do it. We did it, and it's great.
What was it like in the studio?
It was great. I remember when I did Okay. I remember just overall when I wrote Okay, I was like, man, this is different because the beat was different. To test myself, I wanted to see if I could make a really good rap song feel like a hit song. When we made Okay, the energy in there was just amazing because I felt very comfortable. I hate when I get around certain people and I get a little shy or a little timid to be myself, so I said, all right, nah, fuck. That's when I just push through it and I say, okay, take me as I am, and I just do it. So I just went in there, I did all my effects and stuff like that. They fucked with it. It's a hard record. I think my favorite song that we made as a group was the intro with me, Johnny, and Una. And watching Johnny rap for the first time, it was funny. It was great though. She killed it. Can't wait for Volume 2.
And then just going off of COVID, do you think COVID's been pretty helpful for you in your development as an artist? Or has it been kind of
Hell no. A lot of people was like, oh, you should have mad time to write now, but it's I get for me, I get inspired off of being outside. I get inspired off of living life. I was on a streak of doing 3 to 4 shows a week because I was finding open mics that were running on a weekly basis. So I was I had Melodic one day, this on a Tuesday, this on a Thursday, you know what I mean? And so I was just finding new crowds, you know what I mean, getting new fans, new people to connect with. I was networking. I was at an all-time high around I want to say February before stuff started to shut down. I was having such a great year with the music videos. I felt like I was having an MVP type year. I was feeling good about myself, and then COVID starts with that bullshit and videos slow down, you know what I mean? So I'm losing momentum. My video NWO dropped a little later after Wannabe. NWO didn't get as much as I wanted, you know what I mean? And it was just disappointing. I had to push back Mirrors with Zeno, shout out Zenos. This tape took longer than it was supposed to take, and I was losing the feel of performing. Yeah, it fucked it up for me. I didn't like it.
What's it like performing on stage for you?
For me, it feels like a release, you know? I get to really just be myself and not care. Me and Meek, he's my best friend. Once we came to VA, of course not together, but when we linked up in Richmond, Me and him, like, we really started out from like the bottom when it came to being a local rapper. Like, we used to record our SoundCloud tracks on our phones just with that, and then had to get another phone to play the beat off YouTube. So then, it used to get like that. We used to like drive, like, I remember one time we drove like damn near an hour to a show to perform in front of nobody. Like, literally nobody was there. But we was performing like it was Madison Square Garden, you know what I mean? Because for us, we understood that this was a long game. And we understood that you gotta pay your dues. You gotta get your L's before you get your W's. So performing for me, whether it's a crowd of a whole lot or a whole little, my pride and my energy is always the same. I'm always there to give whoever's there a show, even if it's one person. If I can turn that one person into a hardcore Dre Person fan, then I have succeeded. But when it comes to performing, the crowds never worry me. The reaction never worries me. I just make sure I do what I do. I encourage a lot of up-and-coming rappers to get as many performances in as you can, because what you don't want to happen is you end up making a really good song and it blows up, and then you go from not performing to nobody to having to perform in front of millions of people, and you're gonna shit your drawers. A lot of people don't like this stage, the local stage, or when you're growing and developing, but this is the best stage because this is where you get ready, because a lot of people aren't ready. It's easier to get in the game than it ever has been. Like in the 90s, you had to go straight off CDs and you had to give them to the right person. And if you didn't, you weren't getting signed. Now you can go on the internet, make a really good song, and it can just blow. It's kind of switched, whereas to getting in the game was harder, but a lot of times those rappers were really good, so they could stay in the game once they got in there. Now it's like it's easier to get in the game, but it's harder to stay because a lot of people get in too fast and they're not ready, whether it's because of business, whether it's because of talent, and people just don't want to vibe with it no more. It's like that's the thing. So all of that goes into preparation for the next stage.
And speaking of development, can you just explain your stage name?
Dre Person. My first name is DeAndre. So I just took, it was kind of like a life change where I went from, I looked at it like you ever watch a movie and then there's like this good kid and then something happens to him and he's like, you know what, I'm tired of the world treating me this way, and he just makes a flip and now he's this person. That was kind of me and earlier on, and I went from DeAndre to just Dre, and it was like, Dre was like my confidence was up. I knew my worth and I knew exactly who I was. That's where Dre comes from. Person is my mother's last name. My last name is Dublin, which is my father's last name. DeAndre Dublin, I felt like was a younger, naive version of me, which I still, it was a great point in my life, but I had to grow up. Now I'm Dre Person, so yeah. You want me to explain Draco or no? When I was younger and I used to write raps, I wrote this one line. It said Dre the Dragon, right? And it wasn't that good of a line, but it always just stuck with me because of, I guess, alliteration with the Dre Dragon part. And I ended up, I really had a thing for dragons. I really like dragons a lot. So I remember a long time ago I had read a book, and it was like a Harry Potter thing, and I was a fucking geek when it came to Harry Potter, or like Lord of the Rings and shit like that. I love that type of shit. But anyway, I had got this encyclopedia about it, and they were basically just had all these facts. And one of them was my favorite character, Draco Malfoy. Draco, the Latin term for Draco means dragon. That's the translation. It all just kind of clicked for me right there, and I was like, okay, Dre, Draco, Dragon, you know what I'm saying? I kind of just all linked it all together and said, fuck it, let's go with Draco, and it ended up working for me. I like it. The only thing I hate now is everybody mistakes it for the gun, and it's like, it's not that type of game, but fuck it.
Also, speak of taking on your mother's last name. You mention her a lot in Prince of the Abyss.
Oh yeah.
How does she influence just you in general and just also your music?
My mom influenced me growing up as a young black male. A lot of times, especially coming in from the ghetto, you're taught to kind of hold things in and be a man, so to speak, and toughen up and stuff like that. So expressing emotion isn't common. My mom was somebody who was very expressional when it came to her emotions, and she's practically the one who raised me. Watching her go through her emotion and still be strong, you know what I mean, without ever breaking or whatever, Like, everybody has their moments, but she's never like quit. You know what I mean? My mother's never quit. She's never broken down. She's never done any of that, but was still able to cry. You know what I'm saying? Still able to vent and not hold things in. Because I used to think as a man, that's what you had to do. Like, no matter how much it hurt, just keep it in. Don't talk about it. Be, you know, I got it. I'm okay. And that was working, but it wasn't. It was numbing more than solving. You know what I mean? And growing up, watching my mother go through that, I said, you know, I want to do that. I want to be able to express myself and be honest with myself. But also, that don't make me soft or lame, because you can still get your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also gonna cry if I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Not on some like, oh my God, my life is over type shit. But you know, maybe a few tears might drop. But that's probably the best life lesson she's ever taught me. And that's something I definitely want to teach other black males, because I believe that pent-up aggression and emotion transfers from sadness to anger, and that's what results in a lot of violence and crime that goes on in our neighborhoods. Of course, there's other factors, of course, that play into it, but because everybody's so mad, you know what I'm saying, everybody's got something wrong with them deep down. It's like something so small could just set them off, you know what I mean? To stop me from being that way, I express myself.
What are some last words you want to to say to your fans, your viewers?
Last words I want to say is, this is like very cliche, but be yourself. Don't let nobody or nothing influence you different. Be yourself. Do what's best for you. Always strive to be the best. You gotta have that Mamba mentality. Rest in peace to Kobe. You gotta be a competitor. You gotta go. You gotta train hard. You gotta work hard. You gotta strive for what you want if you really want it. Black Lives Matter, of course. I'm not going to get too radical, but you know, Black Lives Matter. Give me about 3-4 years. I'll be the best rapper of all time. One album, and they going, just like Biggie, 1-2 albums, and they gonna crown me the GOAT. Drake, in case you ain't know, by the way, Prince of the Abyss is out. Melodic Mixtape Volume 1 is out, and always stay tuned for what I'm coming up with next.
In my city, the real giants on the street. I know that Eli got us too, but shit, I wouldn't mind the 3. Change the topic, I'm still boycotting. But when you say that shit too loud, that's when them boys plotting. You ducking law, you ducking niggas that enjoy robbing. But all we got is politicians that enjoy watching. Like, boys, stop it. I'm the hardest from the J, that's undisputed.